Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. I don't know if more people are going to join or not, but I think we should start so that we can stick to the agenda. My name is Aralda. I'm going to be your host today. I am the communication and dissemination manager for ATRIUM project. And today we are going to showcase the key technologies and processes that we are developing within our project and that are going to help shift towards sustainable bio-based construction materials. Just a few issues. As you might have noticed, cameras and microphones are going to remain muted for the entirety of the webinar to make it as smooth as possible. And only people that are going to present can put their cameras and microphone on. So please, if you have questions, use the chat. We've also made available the Q&A, and we will address everything as the last part of the session in a dedicated Q&A. Now to start, I'm going to give the floor to Marta. She's the Atrium coordinator, so that she can briefly introduce the project before we start. I'm going to stop sharing. Marta, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Aralda, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this brief session that we are going to present ATRIUM technologies. Let me know if you can see the screen.
Yes.
Yep, but this is not the right slide. This is the right slide. Okay. I will very briefly introduce you in a very general overview of what ATRIUM project is and what are our objectives and where we are, because as we already mentioned, the key topic for this webinar are the technologies that are being used and developed in ATRIUM project. We are a project, we are an IA, and we started in July 2024. We are almost reaching our first milestone month in February. It's month 20, and we will have our first milestone regarding like the first intermediate products and also reporting to the European Commission. Our consortium is formed by 14 different partners from 7 countries. We have expertise that covers all the value chain for ATRIUM project. Our main objectives, very summarized, is we want to develop 4 bio-based and also natural materials that then they are going to be upscaled to 4 intermediate products or biocomposites, as we call them. Then they are going to be we are going to validate 4 innovative technologies that they are the ones we are going to talk about today: the extrusion, co-extrusion and foaming, mycelium biomanufacturing, extrusion compounding together with injection molding, and finally, the 3D additive manufacturing. What are we going to use this for? Well, the aim is to develop 5 consumer-oriented products, which are outdoor and indoor flooring, acoustic panels, plug-and-play green wall systems, and also the pots that go into the green wall system, and some hempcrete building blocks. To demonstrate and validate these products, we have 3 demo sites. One in Spain, one in Israel, and one in Austria. The demo site in Austria, in Vienna, it's a market garden bistro. It's from farm to table. It's already a restaurant, a bistro that exists in Vienna. So what we are going to do there is we will install some of these products like the 3D printed green wall with the planting pots, the outdoor decking, with some extruded profiles, as well as the mycelium-based floor, either floor or acoustic tiles. And the idea, this demo site is the more sustainable one in the reason, like we are going to completely change from fossil-based to these bio-based materials and see how they perform in an environment, in this case, in Vienna. Demo site 2, in Spain, the Innovation Labs, it's completely different. It's more about letting society, stakeholders, artists know about our materials, intermediate products and final products, and see the acceptance they have, and also receive knowledge from them to then use it in our products to better deliver a better product, a final product. And our last demo site is the one in Israel, at Ben Gurion University. There, we will install the 3D printed hempcrete bricks as well as mycelium acoustic panels. And this is more, I call it a more analytical demo site, because that's where some properties like temperature, humidity are going to be measured, comparing standard materials with the ones developed in the project. Here, just some pictures of what we've been doing during this time. It's the first months or the first period of the project is about preparing the materials. You can see some pellets on the left, some testing in the middle, as well as some mycelium, some of the profiles we've been extruding. But at the moment, it's all about preparation, the materials to get these products. And that's all from me. I'll leave the floor. As Aralda said, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them on the chat, or even send us an email later. But I'll leave the floor to the next speaker, who will be starting with the technologies. Thank you.
Thank you, Marta. I forgot to mention as well that the meeting is being recorded. So I'm going to leave some contact, so that in case someone has a problem with that, they can drop us an email or send us a message. And also, in case you want to have more information about what we're doing, we are going to be sharing all of our links to the website and everything. Now we're going to move to the first block of this webinar, which is the ATRIUM technologies. We are going to start with the first one, co-extrusion and foaming. It's going to be presented by Jürgen from WoodK+. So please, Jürgen.
Yeah, good afternoon also from my side. So I will share now my screen. So I hope you can see my presentation.
Yes.
Perfect. So just a few words to my person. So my name is Jürgen Esslem. I started material engineering at the University of Applied Sciences. So it's situated here in Upper Austria. And I'm working at WoodK+ since many, many years. So December 2008, I started as research associate, and since 2011, I'm project manager. I'm leading long-term projects, for example, for a German producer of pencils, and I also do all our direct projects. And yeah, for that, participants who doesn't know the Komponentenzentrum Holz are also well known as WoodK+. So we are a leading research institute for wood and renewable raw materials in Europe. And our core competences lies in the materials research and process technology along the entire value chain. And I'm working in the area of biorefinery processes and composite materials. And this area, the main topic of this area is the optimization in the use of biomass. So it's primarily wood, but also other raw materials. And we work, and I'm working at the team bio-based composites and applications. And this team focuses on the formulation and process development of innovative biopolymers and composite materials. And that's the reason why we're working on this combined technology of forming and co-extrusion. So I've divided my presentation in a few parts. So I will start with the single project, the single processes. So a few words to the form extrusion. So we have the possibility to do this with chemical forming agents, or the other way, we can use physical forming agents. And these chemical blowing agents are substances that compose at processing temperatures. And during this decomposition, these blowing agents liberate gases like carbon dioxide or nitrogen, and this gases that are released create then later on the form structure when the melt leaves the die. And for this chemical blowing agents, solid organic and inorganic substances such as carbon and citrate are used. And there are two different types of these chemical blowing agents. So on the one hand, we have the endothermic one, which absorbs heat and usually generates this carbon dioxide. On the other hand, there are this exothermic type, which releases heat and produces mainly nitrogen. And the type of this chemical blowing agents influence the viscous elastic property of the matrix and also of the later on cell morphology. So if we have a finer morphology or a finer structure or a broader one. And there also exist combinations, so such like hybrid systems of this exothermic and endothermic chemical blowing agents. And yeah, here you can see an example how this reaction or this form extrusion process works. So you fill in the polymer, or you also can use, for, as in our case, a natural fiber reinforced polymer, and then you also add directly these chemical forming agents. Then the first step is the plastification. Then comes the reaction. So when these gases are built during this decomposition, then the gases are dispersed through the screw, and when the melt then leaves the die, it can expand, and then the cell structure is built, and then is the cooling and the fixation of the form. Then on the other hand, we have the physical forming. So in this case, as the name says, physical blowing agents are added during the process or directly in the melt. And one type of these physical blowing agents are inert gases such nitrogen or also carbon dioxide. So you can see the same gases are used during this process. And the solubility of the gases affects the final density. And as I mentioned before, the expandation is done during the composition, so when the metal leaves the die. So one big advantage of this technology or the physical forming is that no decomposition products are built. But on the other way, we have a complex technology. And here you can see an example from Exalic. So it's formerly known as granular extrusion. And you see that here you need a special equipment to do this physical forming, and the chemical forming you can do with your standard equipment. And some words to the form extrusion of WBC, so this wood polymer composites. So we introduce a porous structure into the WBC matrix, and that has the big advantage that we can reduce the material costs through the density reduction, and on the other way, we need less material. And through this form structure, we can increase the toughness and also the impact resistance. And that helps us, for example, that we can nail, we can do nailing and screwing. So that's also a big advantage and necessary for this WC terra stacking we are developing within the ATRIUM projects. And this forming can be done by chemical blowing, by adding of chemical blowing agent, by the adding of physical blowing agent, or you can also use heat expanded microspheres or beads. Yeah, and when these WBCs are formed with chemical blowing agents, this decomposition temperature of these chemical blowing agents dedicates the temperatures. So when, for example, these chemical blowing agents decompose at 190 degrees, we have to use a melt temperature which is higher than this temperature. But we have, in this case, also have look on the melt temperature, because the limit for WBC to avoid the degradation of the natural fibers is 200 degrees, so that the composition temperature of the used additives must be below this temperature. Yeah, and then the next single process is the co-extrusion. So as the name says, this is simultaneous processing of two or more materials, or in our case, in the plastic industry, it's polymers. It's common for thickness optimization, for expensive raw materials, and also is a possibility to reduce waste. So you can build up scrap layers. Products produced of co-extrusion are films, pipes, and profiles like our terrace deckings, and leads to multi-layer structures. And in our case, we do co-extrusion, which you can see here, a schematic picture here on the slide. And during this die co-extrusion, the melts are fed into a multi-layer die, and then the different melts are combined shortly before the die gap. And after the die, the material expands, and then there is the calibration and cooling step. And the big benefits are the cost reduction, and also you can improve the quality of the profile. And that's the main reason why it's one of the most advanced processing technologies in creating multi-layer composites with different complementary layers and characteristics. And it also is we can have the option to tunable the final product properties. And this co-extrusion of these wood polymer composites are multi-layer composites in which regular WBCs are coated with a protective shell layer, as you can see here on the right picture. It can be on only one half of the profile, or this co-extruded layer can be around the whole core. And this structure provides a way to overcome the shortcomings of this WBC. And this coating a shell layer onto this WBC can effectively reduce the moisture absorption and degradation caused by weathering of the composites. And to avoid things like this, you can see on the picture in the middle. And some more words to the co-extrusion of WBC. So it allows to incorporate additives only into the surface layer, and that helps to reduce the amount of the required additives and the very expensive additives most of the time when we're talking about UV stabilizers, to a very small amount. And we can cover the core layer with a functional protective surface layer, and then it's also gives the opportunity to use reused and recycled material for the core material. And for example, you can use recycled plastics and also agricultural wastes or waste from the furniture industry, like we do in ATRIUM project, to form the core layer. And yes, different literature says that the plastic proportion of the shell layer is generally higher than 78% to improve the encapsulation of the core layer. And now we came to this special combination of the forming and the co-extrusion projects, which is a manufacturing process that uses multiple extruders. So in our case, we're using two extruders to create products with a formed inner layer and a solid outer layer, and that enables lightweighting and also to have products with improved durability. For example, we can include UV stabilizers in the shell layer, and this forming can be achieved physically or also chemically, like we do in ATRIUM project. And here you can see a picture of our process we use in the project. So in the core layer, we have bio-based polyethylene, and we'll combine this with recycled organic waste. And the shell layer is an UV stabilized bio-based polyethylene. And yeah, this is the end product. So the formed core layer protected with an UV stabilized shell layer. Yeah, here you can see a picture from our process. So we have the main extruder, then the side extruder, then the special die for combination of co-extrusion and forming. And when the profile leaves the die, we have this calibration tool to fix the structure and also the form structure. And yeah, how is this done? So we have a simultaneous extrusion process in which the core and the skin materials are melted and then fed through this co-extrusion die. Then the die combines the streams into a composite structure where the formed layer is surrounded by the solid layer. And the forming agent within the core material expands as the material exits the die, creating a cellular structure, which leads then to the reduced density and to a lightweight extruded profile. And here, yeah, this is the equipment we use. So for the core layer, with the recycled and bio-based material, we use a conical counter-rotating twin screw extruder from Battenfeld, Cincinnati. And for the shell layer, we have a single screw extruder from Greiner. And this is the experimental tool we use. So we have the dimension 60 per 30 millimeters. And the thickness of the shell layer in our case is 1 millimeter. So we have to add this cost expensive additives only in this 1 millimeter thick surface layer and can use recycled materials and cheap materials for the core layer. And this technology we use to produce the so-called next or 5th generation of this WC lightweight terra stackings for outdoor application. And as mentioned before, we use for the matrix bio-based polyethylene and recycled and reinforce this with recycled organic fillers from the furniture industry. So we use recycled fibers from medium density fiber boards and only particle boards, and also mixtures of these two types of dust. And some words to the materials we used. So we have evaluated that LDPE is the most suitable for forming, have one main reason. So this branched molecular structure has a significantly higher melt strength than this high density polyethylene, and the high melt strength is crucial during the forming because the melt must retain the gas produced from the decomposition of these chemical forming agents without collapsing. And yeah, we saw that for extrusion forming of bio-based PE-based composites, a lower MFR seems to be constructive to achieve the necessary melt strength. And we saw to many test series that the optimum recycled organic filler content seems to be 28%, and we do not have to add nucleating agents like calcium carbonate. And during this project, so the first year of the project, we also had a look on the safety aspects or the safety at works. And we saw during measurements that if we have an appropriate extraction and ventilation, no further measures need to be taken from a bulletin perspective when processing recycled organic materials like particle boards or medium fiber dust boards. And we also saw that we have already reached a key performance indicator of a density of between 0.9 and up to 1 gram per cubic centimeters. So yeah, then thank you for your attention. And yeah, if you have questions, I will answer this in the last section of this webinar.
Thank you very much, Jürgen. That was very interesting. I'm sure people enjoyed it. Now to the next technology that included in our project, it's mycelium biomanufacturing. For this, we have Annalisa Moro from Scheme, and she's going to be the one introducing you to the work. Annalisa, please.
Thank you so much, Geraldo. Hi, everyone. Nice to virtually meet you. So I will share my screen and I hope. Can you see it? Okay, perfect. So I'm Annalisa, and as Geraldo say, I'm the European Project Manager of Scheme. And I will let you see our technology. So as you have seen here, we are a mycelium-based company. So our strength is to use fungal microorganisms, so the vegetative body of fungi, for producing new products, and in particular, also in ATRIUM, new panel for acoustic and thermal insulation use. We use different topology of substrate, and basically we turn them into functional high-value materials and products. So the mycelium is really our key agent, and is able to shift from an exploitative paradigm, generally in use in the construction industry, to a regenerative one rooted in biofabrication. Linked to biofabrication, this is a very circular economy solution, because basically we generally use low value substrate, and we are able to transform it into high value products, as I mentioned to you, as the panel for the construction and architecture interior design industry. We generally produce the panel. We are active over the last 10 years, and we really explore the potential of mycelium-based technology in different application sectors, and in particular in ATRIUM, but also in other projects as well in our production. We are focused on soft and foam-like panels, as well as to high-density panels. Here on the left, you can see the panels in our growing room. And so the mycelium technology is a very natural process, because we start with the sterilization of the substrate. The origin of the substrate can vary, and of course is also based on the species of fungi that we utilize. So once that you sterilize the substrate, we inoculate it. So this means that basically we use the spore of the fungi for colonizing the substrate, and after we create a growing room where the substrate inoculates is able to grow into plastic bags. Once that we basically reach the fully colonization of the bags, we grind the substrate, and we put it into molds. And in the molds, the mycelium is able to regrow, so colonize again the substrate. And after once it is ready, we stabilize it with the drying process, and after we finalize it with the paint, and after the pressing in case of high density panels. Here you can see the raw panels, so you can see that it's very natural color, but of course it can change based on the color that we apply on the top during the finishing process. We have different shapes and also sizes of the panels. The biofabrication is very custom, is able to customize the size as well as the thicknesses and also the shape, as it takes basically the shape and the size of the molds where we grow the panels. So here you can see our catalog. So we have really different design panels that can be applied on the wall as well as on the ceiling. Here is our Pluma panels. Basically, they are the same, but they are pressed. So in this case, we have high density panels. And here again, you can really give different texture and also different colors on the top. Another panels that we are developing in ATRIUM is our what we call kiwi panels, because it's inspired by the fruit, so the kiwi. And in this case, we have basically the mycelium panel that is coated with some recycled wool that gives it fire resistant properties and also increase the scratch and impact resistance, as well as the acoustic performance. We are active in many R&D projects. For example, in ATRIUM, we are focusing on improving the fire resistance of the panels, as well as also increasing the industrialization of the panels by reducing also the cost. So we are working on the substrate, of course, as this is the main cost that we have when we produce mycelium panels, but as well as on different coatings and the fire resistance paints that can improve this key property for the construction industry. Our intent is to really bring nature closer to people, meeting the needs of everyday life from both a functional and aesthetic perspective. Here you can see our Pluma and kiwi panel applied in a real environment. So we sell, of course, our panel to architects and whoever is interested in them. Here is another type of Pluma with a different texture, and you can see also that we can apply them on the ceiling of the rooms. Here again, another on the ceiling, another project that we did. And so I stay, of course, at your disposal if you have any question more specific on the technology and yeah, and also on the products and the work that we are performing in ATRIUM. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Annalisa. I'm sure that a lot of people didn't know that mycelium could look so cool. We are going to move now to the next technology, which is extrusion compounding and injection molding. For this, we have Laura from Technopackaging. So please, Laura, the floor is yours now.
Thank you very much, Ella. As one moment, I will share my screen. Okay, so yeah, thank you very much. My name is Laura Villacian. I am a project manager in Technopackaging. We are an SME located in Spain. And today I wanted to speak about two different technologies. From one side, extrusion compounding, and as well for injection molding. Within ATRIUM project, we have two different partners doing the extrusion compounding. From one side, we have Woodca Plus, which has been doing all the screening of the different formulations. And afterwards, we have Technopackaging, us, which will be doing the scale up. So a little introduction to extrusion compounding. Extrusion compounding is a continuous melt mixing process where we have polymers, fillers, and any additive that you can imagine. And those are fed into an extruder, afterwards melted by applying heat, and intensively mixed through the screw. Once the polymer has been mixed, we cool it down, and then we pelletize, as you can see here in the picture on the right. This technology is typically carried out on rotating twin screw extruders. However, when we are speaking about lab scale, sometimes we can also find single screw extruders. And the main objective of this technology is to achieve a controlled dispersion and the distribution of the fillers, the additives, and also when we are speaking about reactive extrusion, also to the reactive component. With this technology, what we could produce is high-performance engineering plastics, master batches, and as well sustainable compounds for various industries. Coming to the process steps, we have different ones. You can see them listed here. For the starting, we have the dosing and the feeding. This is a really key process step because it's what you will have to really have accurate dosing is really critical if we want to achieve the target formulation and also consistent properties. And this is where we will have also the part of the homogenization of the processes by doing a really good formulation. Afterwards, we have the melting, conveying, mixing, and homogenization. This is done in the and by adding this screw that is all the time mixing the material, we have these homogenized blends. For some of the materials, for example, for hygroscopic resins and also for highly filled compounds, it's also important the gassing and the venting because we do not want to have high pressures within the extruder. As I commented already, we have also the part of the cooling and the penetrizing. The cooling conditions are also strongly affect the integrity and also the pellet site distribution, so it's really important also to control it. In ATRIUM project, as commented, as we have two different partners, we have different equipment as well that is being used. From one side, we have the equipment from Woodca Plus, which is a Bravender co-rotation extruder, and the length of the process unit is 800 millimeters, and the screw diameter is 20 millimeters. The output maximum is 15 kilogram per hour for compounding of the material down is this temperate water bath of 80 grados Celsius. In technopackaging, we have two different extruders. In this case, the one that we are using is the Copernion, the MC18. This is the newest one, and we will be using this because it has dispensers for powder and for liquid as well. In this case, the extrusion compounding machine is a bit higher than the one being used in Woodca Plus. In this case, we are speaking about 1,000 millimeters instead of 800, and the screw diameter is a bit higher as well. It's 25 millimeters instead of the 20 millimeters. This allows us to have a bit more of mixing within the extrusion compounding. However, it's important to mention that in this project we are using bio-based materials. This means that it's really important to be really aware of how many time do we have the material within the extruder, because if it stays too many time, it may degrade. So that's why we are not using really big compounders, but some compounders that are at TRL5 to 6 in order not to degrade the. Also important to mention that in technopackaging we have also the water bath, but we also have this for specifically for hydrophilus and additives, allowing us that is not necessary after the pelletizing to dry the material again, because we do not have this water. Extrusion compounding within ATRIUM, what has been done already is to produce these biocomposite compounds, which are mainly made of natural fibers filled with biopolymers, in this case PHA. And this will be used afterwards for injection molding of the planting pots that will be integrated in the green wall systems. The final formulation that will be scaled up is this PHA. It's a copolymer of PHBB, filled out with 20% of hemp fiber. You have here a bit of more information regarding the fiber length and as well the wool density. And we have this other formulation that has also been tested, that is a 10% of fiber. You can see lighter brown are with hemp fiber. The characteristics were assessed in terms of fluidity and also the mechanical properties, and both materials were suitable for the planting pots manufacturing afterwards. So injection molding, this is only being done by technopackaging. I know that many of you may already know this kind of technology because it's not something that is really new. It's a key industry standard. It's one of the most common methods for plastic transformation. However, it's important also to mention that for biopolymers, what you have to adapt is the process parameters, and this is something really critical. So injection molding is used for high volume manufacturing processes, used to produce identical plastic parts by injection molding of the materials into a customized mold. It's ideal specifically for complex shapes that require high precision and for a professional finish, and is fast and automated. So once the mold is created, this is the most important capex that you need within this process. Afterwards, the process is really highly repeatable, and you really need really low labor costs. The process steps include the feeding and the plastification. So the material is melted as well as in the extrusion compounding, but with a smaller screw in this case. And afterwards, it is injected. The screw moves forward, forcing the melt into the mold, and then high pressure is maintained in order to compensate the material shrinkage. This is also important for biopolymers. Afterwards, once it has been melted, as you can see here in the video, it is pressed and cooled down, and then you have the ejection. That is what you are seeing in the video. What is the equipment that we are using in this case? We have two different machines as well. We have one that is being used for lab scale trials. This is the Void of 25E. It has a clamping force of 25 tons, and the maximum injection capacity is 20.4 cubic centimeters. This is important also because we cannot do really big pieces in this machine, but it allows us with little material to test how the material behaves in these injections. Then we have this other equipment that is the one that is being used for the manufacturing of the planting pots within ATRIUM project. It's a bigger one. In this case, we have 110 tons. And I will share also a bit of how is the machine working as well. As you can see here, the machine is quite more bigger. The maximum injection capacity is 70 grams in this case, and it allows us to have, well, in this case, it's only for pots, but we can add any mold that fits in within this machine and adapt the process parameters also to the material. So last but not least, what are we doing with the injection molding within ATRIUM? We have been using it to produce the planting pots made of PHA and natural fibers. You can see there some of the demonstrators that we have already achieved. The initial compounding and injection molding trials were successfully validated, which means that the PHA-based formulations fitted both the melt flow index that we needed to have for the injection molding, and as well the mechanical performance that was needed structural for the planting pots. And next steps will include to add fire retardant additive. This will be done by Woodca Plus, and also to optimize the process parameters in order to enhance the processability and the aesthetics of the planting pots. And that was everything from my side. And if there is any doubt, please don't hesitate to ask.
Thank you, Laura. I think that was also very interesting. I'm sure people are going to be very interested in planting pots in the future. Now we are going to move to the last technology, which is 3D additive manufacturing. In this case, we have Raquel Navarro from Moses. So please, Raquel, thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm going to share my screen. So today I'm going to talk about robotic additive manufacturing. In the ATRIUM project, we have two kinds of 3D printing technology. The first one is for thermoplastic, and the other one is for the hempcrete. Today I'm going to focus on the thermoplastic technology that is called BAM or LSAM. These are the names of the large-scale 3D printing technologies that we use for pellet extrusion. using robotic systems. This technology allows us to fabricate meter scale components with high deposition rates. In ATRIUM, we use a Yaskawa GP robotic arm equipped with a CA25 extruder. This is a semi-industrial or industrial extruder, so it allows us to extrude big amounts of material. In this case, I'm going to explain you how this system works, because it's not a common system as injection molding or extrusion compounding. So first, we'll start with the pellets that we obtain in the extrusion compounding process. Okay, so the idea is that we put those thermoplastic pellets in the pellet hopper that you can see here if you see my mouse. We put the material on the pellet hopper, and then the servo motor starts to work, and we are feeding the material through the extruded barrel, and the heaters are heating the material so it can be pushed through the nozzle. So thanks to these 4 thermal zones, we could have a control of the temperature of the material. So we are gradually increasing the temperature until it reaches the fully molten state suitable for the extrusion. Then we start extruding the material. This is the layer by layer deposition. The molten polymer is extruded as a continuous bead. Okay, so it follows the toolpath that we generated in the slicer. I'm going to explain you later how we generate this toolpath, but in this process we are focusing on the addition between the layers, because it depends a lot on the temperature, the extrusion speed, and the cooling rate. And it's really important, because if you don't have a good adhesion between the layers, the part is not growing well, so you will not obtain the final part. This kind of robotic additive manufacturing led us to support vertical or angle layer printing, also enabling complex geometries. And this is the video. And finally, one important aspect is the cooling and consolidation, because in the small printers, small scale printers, we have cooling fans, we have heated chambers, but in this case, in the robotic 3D printing, we don't have these cooling fans. So we need to make some strategies considering the printing time per layer to try to solidify the material, but not so much so we could have enough adhesion between the layers. So we can print different kinds of materials: recycled, bio-based, fossil-based, and also advanced compounds. In this case, I'm showing you the material that we use in ATRIUM project. This is cellulose acetate with hemp fibers. Okay, this is a material that we obtain through extrusion compounding, and also you can see here the degradation between the virgin material and also the compounded material. So we made some trials just to check the right parameters of the 3D printing process. The main advantages of this 3D printing process is that it has high productivity because of the fast deposition. So we can manufacture molds, tools, facade panels, furniture, and also large prototypes. As I was explaining you, the material versatility, because this process is compatible with different kinds of materials, thermoplastics. So these technologies led us to recycle materials, trying new bio-based composites in different ways. We also have this geometric freedom, so we can not only print layer by layer, we can also change the angle of the 3D printing process to manufacture more complex geometries. And finally, the sustainability is a key aspect of this technology, because we reduce a lot the waste compared to different extractive manufacturing processes. And also, as I was saying in the previous paragraph, this technology led us to use recycled materials. So mainly the process from the idea to product in this technology is that we start with a concept and then we go to the geometry design. We mainly work in 3D model programs that let us directly to work with the slicer of the robot. The slicer is the software that split the 3D model in layers. Okay, so we start with this concept, the 3D model. We also select the material, the methodology that we are going to use for 3D printing that part. Also, we are defining the scale, the aesthetics of the product, and then we start with the digital preparation and slicing of the 3D model. So we are converting the geometry into the tool paths of the robot. So we think about the slicing strategy, the bed size, the layer height, the temperature, the deposition paths, and also other parameters like the nozzle diameter, the printing time per layer. Okay, so then once we have decided all these parameters, we go to the robotic toolpath generation. This is mainly the same as the slicing, but kind of different because the robots work in different forms, different ways. So we do our own slicing code for doing the toolpath generation of the Yaskawa robot. We think about the dynamics of the robot, the acceleration, we check the collisions. Also, we have control on the orientation of the printing head. And finally, once we have this toolpath generation and we have decided the material and the geometry, we go to the 3D printing process. As I was explaining before, we execute the toolpath and we put like the pellet, the material that we want in pellet, and we start with the deposition of the material. I'm going to show you some real use cases. In this case, this is a national project called Marfil, where we printed PLA with cellulose fibers for printing a chair. So here you can see that we put different textures on the chair, and also we put some pigments just to check if we could put some colorants on the printed product. We have also a different real use case. In this case is the remedies project, where we recycled these cups. So we could recycle the used cups and then print with the shared material. In this case, the material is a bio-PVAs. So we thought about printing a buoy for the sea. And here you can see also the video. Maybe Aralda could send you later the video because I think we are running late, so I'm not going to show you the video now. And finally, the last use case is the ATRIUM project, is the project that we are talking about today. Here you can see one of the first trials that we made. In this case, we were printing these two facade panels that we exhibited in the BIM stand in Fornext. So here you can see the scale of the panels. We started with the extrusion compounding of the cellulose acetate. Then we did these trials that I explained you on the beginning of the presentation, and finally we exhibited the demonstrators on the stand of the BIM in the Fornext. So mainly that's all that I wanted to explain you today regarding the 3D printing technology. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I think everything was very interesting, but it's my project, so I can't say anything else. We are now going to quickly shift to the next block of the webinar. We are going to be introducing now some of our sister projects. I'm very happy that we could have this section because it's a very nice way to put all of the synergies into action. We have three sister projects. We have BioBuild, Best Crop, and Biosmatter, and they are also going to briefly share their technologies, always with the sustainable construction sector as the common topic. First, we have Nasco from BioBuild, who's the project coordinator. Please, Nasco, you have the floor.
Do you see the presentation?
Yes.
Yeah, I think now is better. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for being invited to participate, and I think this is very useful initiative, very informative. Since our projects are pretty similar with respect to the materials, all of us we strive to use biomaterials and produce bioproducts, which is the entire goal of the entire cluster what we participate in. So our project is called BioBuild. It has a duration of 4 years and has started already 2 years ago. At the moment, we're somewhere in the middle of our project. We have 12 partners in the project. The majority of them are universities, 5 universities. We have representatives of the industry. Also, we have standardization bodies, national research bodies, also or professional organizations included in the group of the partners in our project. I will just share a couple of words about the idea, what is distinguishes our projects from the other projects is that we also produce building material for internal use, but we want to develop one step further the properties of the material. So with respect to energy saving and storing in the material. And the principle is pretty simple and well known that there are materials which are able to absorb and then release the thermal energy, like in the graph here. So there is a material is in the solid phase, then it starts to melt, and this is the plateau in the line when it absorbs the energy and then goes further to liquid phase. So simply melting and solidifications are happening during the transition period, and everything depends on the temperature, at which temperature this will take place. In our case, since we want to have material for internal use and thermal comfort, the temperature should be about everything between 90 to about 23 degrees. This is what we have selected. The second moment, what is also pretty characteristic, is that the phase change materials, which are also biological materials, functions pretty well. They are encapsulated in something very small. Normally, a big volume of the material also will function, but then we have to wait pretty long time that will melt or solidify. But if you have it encapsulated in something small, like in our case on the left side, you see this is the structure of the wood. If we can encapsulate it, the red spots here, or in a single fiber, it will react much, much faster, which means we can gain more energy by faster transition from melting to solidification. So this is the main idea, and this should be implemented in various materials. We have also 4 different materials, what contributes to the entire project idea. In the beginning, we select the phase change material, biological phase change material, which is extracted from plant oils or uneatable feeds. Then we impregnate it in, let's say, the core of the flooring. This is one product. And then we have wood fibers or particles which are impregnated with the phase change material to build panels, wall panels with 3 different technologies. One of the technologies using plant oil as a polymer for binding. The second is using lignin as a binder, and number 3 is using a fungal mycelia also as a binder of the panels. So these 4 products, the flooring and 3 types of panels, they should be tested into real conditions. So since we're in the middle of the project, we have already developed the technology for flooring. The flooring is in a stage of preparation and testing. Then we have composites with epoxidized linseed as binder. This is a lignosulfonate binder based on lignin derivatives from the pulp and paper industry. And finally, we have mycelium binder. We have to test it in let's say, real building structure. So we have selected small houses which are of area of 35 square meters. The houses are already exposed in Spain and in Sweden. We have always two houses. One should be the control one without or which is full with traditional materials, that they should be compared to the second house, which uses the materials developed in the project. This is how the houses look like, and the flooring will contain PCM, also the walls with the panels, and probably also we can use some panels on the ceiling in the room. So this is the idea. And then we have a period of maybe 1 year when we have to compare the thermal characteristics of the houses in order to register what should be the gain of the thermal energy. So we expect that we should have some gain by implementing the new materials. I would finish just with showing a very brief, also something what is important and what I'm sure also your projects work with. This is the life cycle analysis of, let's say, our wallboards, accompanied by relative impacts. And as you know, the global warming potential is probably the most popular and frequently used indicator about the effectiveness of the new materials. If you looked into the red rectangular, these are traditional materials like particle boards, middle density fiber, and oriented strand boards. And these are our materials with the three binder, for example, epoxy oil, lignosulfonate, and mycelium. So I think in our case, we have achieved a pretty good results. They are not higher than, for example, particle or middle density fibers. They are somewhat lower. The same could be seen, for example, for terrestrial acidification potential. It is more or less equivalent to that of the particle boards. Or human toxicity, we have somewhat lower toxicity, for example, in the lignin sulfonate binder compared to particles or middle density fiber boards. So the project is going on, and it is approaching the most exciting phase when the materials will be produced, and we start with our practical testing maybe in the middle of the year. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nasko. We are going to move to our next project, which is Best Crop, and we also have here the project coordinator, Paolo Besaresi. Thank you.
Thank you, Aralda. I don't know whether you are able to see my slide at the moment.
Yes.
Okay, thanks a lot, Aralda. Thanks in general ATRIUM for giving us this opportunity. Since we met last year in May in Brussels, so we had many interaction, and this is a really important opportunity for us. So Best Crop is a 5-year project. It started in July 2023. It's a research innovation action, so our technology readiness level is certainly less than what we have seen so far. It's a project that involved 18 partners. We have 10 university and research institutions together with the companies. And companies are involved both in the breeding and seed sector, but also in the circular economy sector, as for instance, FAD, CODEM, SWIM, and SOGIS. So our project has a dual aim. On one side, it aims to improve the photosynthetic performance of a crop, and specifically Best Crop focuses on barley. And then we aim actually to increase the total biomass production of barley by 5-10% without touching the harvest index. And we also aim to tailor the barley straw to the need of companies that are acting into the production of high-value bio-based products. And specifically, Best Crops aim to produce from straw, biolubricants, insulation construction panels, as well as feed for animals. And obviously today we will mainly focus on strategies for the production of insulation and construction panel. So it's essentially divided in 9 work packages, but the one that deals with tailoring the barley straw to the needs of the circular bioeconomy, as well as the one aimed to produce a bio-based product from the straw, are actually the number 2 and the number 5. The number 2, it's the work package that has the main focus on improving the quality of the barley straw. And in particularly, in collaboration with our partner, we are focusing on developing new barley lines that are characterized by a straw with different lignin content and properties. But we are also aiming to obtain new barley lines with an increased protein content in the straw. And so the straw that we are producing, that we are using, will be transformed in the work package 5 that just started in July last year, will be transformed into proteins as well as into biolubricants in collaboration with our partner Sogis. And in particular, they will use this barley straw enriching protein that will be used as a feeding for black soldier flies. Our partner SWIM, as you have already seen, they will use different barley straw derived from the lines we are developing in the other work packages to colonize them with different strains of Ascomycetes, and their aim is to obtain from, with the use of this natural binder, insulation panel as well as construction panel. And in addition, SWIM will collaborate with other partners like FADECODEM and IMT to produce from straw construction panels as well as polymer composites. As I told you, the first part, almost completed, of our project is dedicated to the selection of the ideal straw material. We have now identified a panel of different lines of barley straw that have been obtained by searching within the natural genetic variability, but also by using genetic engineering as well as gene editing. We have now a panel of barley straw that has been transferred to our partner FADECODEM, and they have treated the barley straw with different fractionation strategies in order to produce fiber, granulates, and flour. And this has been then transferred to our partner, and they started to test the performance of these different straw derived from the selected lines. And in particular, SWIM started to verify how their Ascomycete mycotech, to select inside the mycotech those strains that are able to grow better on this selected straw. And they have already indication that at least 3 strains are performing much better than the others, and they are going to develop using this natural binder, as I said, construction and insulation panel starting from the selected barley straw. On the other hand, our partner in France, FADECODEM, are using the selected barley straw with different adhesive that you can find listed here, using different pressing time, temperature to develop a construction panel. And here are just a few examples of the one that has been developed starting from this selection of straw that we have developed in the frame of the other work packages. So if you are interested in our project, we have published at the beginning of last year a detailed summary of all the activities that we are running in the frame of the best crop, including all the activities dealing with bio-based compounds, insulation panel, construction panel. And obviously you can follow us on our website and on our socials. Thank you again for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Paolo. Now we have our last project, which is Biosmatter. We saw two projects that started before ATRIUM. Then we have ATRIUM, and we have one of the most recent projects dealing with this topic. We also have the project coordinator, Carlos. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Aralda, and thank you for inviting us to present our project. So nice to meet you all. I'm going to present Biosmatter. Biosmatter, as Aralda said, is quite new, a newcomer in comparison with all of you. We started on last June, and the project will go for 48 months.
Carlos, sorry
Yes?
to interrupt you, but we can only see the other screen.
The one, yeah.
The presentation screen, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, now?
Yep,
yes.
It's perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Marta. Okay, so as I was saying, Biosmatter started on June of last year, and it will go for 4 years. It is funded by the CBE, and we are a consortium of 22 partners from 10 countries that you can check on the right side, and Fundación Circe is the coordinator from Spain. At a glance about the project, well, the goal of Biosmatter is to develop a bio-based construction product that achieve or have improved performance, circularity, and achieve reduce environmental impact in comparison to the conventional ones by integrating the methodology of safe and sustainable by design from early stages, and always having in mind the circular economy guidelines. Through several processes that will be optimized, seeking for performance, durability, and circularity. The objective is to develop several products that are ready for market uptake in the construction value chain, and they will be validated through real use demonstration. So the project is not only about materials, but of technologies and processes, and validation, and the ultimate goal, as I was saying, is to enable circular and market-ready bio-based construction value chains across Europe. For that, at a glance, since this project started only 8 months ago, we don't have such a nice photos as you, but I will introduce the feedstock and the technologies that will be used in the project. So as you can see on the left side, we have the feedstocks that will be used to create the products at Biosmatter. So the project is divided in 4 production routes. Each one aims at a different goal. Production route A, which is the first one, develops bio-based sandwich extractor for flooring applications using coffee, hemp, sugar waste, and the idea is to use bio-based polymer matrices combined with lignocellulosic fibers and functional additives processed via composite layup, lamination, and pressing technologies to achieve mechanical stability and durability. Regarding Product route B, the route focuses on wall panels and flooring tiles based on bio-based binders and resins with natural reinforced with natural fibers and fillers. And well, they will be manufactured through scalable panel forming and shaping processes, which are compatible with conventional construction systems. Route C develops fiber reinforced composite panels for facade cladding using bio-based resins combined with natural or bio-derived fibers. As you can see here, fiber crops, fruit stone, and sugarcane waste. And they will be processed through composite molding and resin curing technologies to meet facade-specific performance and safety requirements. And finally, the last production route develops lightweight biodegradable tiles from biofoams for drywall applications using fish waste from collagen from fish waste and hemp. And as I was basically saying, the key technologies and processes use, or the idea is to develop these bio-based formulations by combining resins, fibers, and additives to meet construction grade requirements. The technologies and processes that will be used are composite layup and molding, bracing, lamination and sandwich structuring, foam formation for lightweight panels, and fiber reinforcement integration. The objective at the end is to integrate the steps at material and product level to ensure compliance with construction performance and safety requirements by checking mechanical, thermal, and acoustic through this kind of test, through test of fire resistance and durability, integrating, as I was saying, safe and sustainable by design, and health and safety assessment. And obviously, we are always having or keeping in mind the circularity and sustainability. So all the technologies are validated through integrated performance testing, the life cycle assessment, life cycle costing, and circular by design and end-of-life strategies, with the ultimate goal to have products with a reduced environmental footprint. The demonstration and the validation will take place in a demo park in Spain, in Acciona facilities in Madrid. The idea is to test all these products in real-world conditions to validate their technical performance, their environmental performance, and their applicability in current construction practices. So, as I said, Biosmart's ultimate goal is to produce market-ready products, and the objective is to bridge and to close the bridge between lab-scale innovation and market uptake. And regarding also this meeting and meeting you as sister projects, I think we share several challenges, such as scaling bio-based materials, understanding the trade-offs between performance and sustainability, also what are the burdens in market acceptance for this kind of products and standardization, and what we believe that could be used as potential synergies is to share on the methodologies for material testing, understand together the SSBD methodology and LCA frameworks, and also share our knowledge on the demonstration and replication strategy. So we are open to collaborate with all of you. I think all your technologies are quite interesting for us, and we will follow you closer now that we know of you. So thank you very much for, again, ATRIUM, Aralda, Marta, for inviting us. That would be all. You have any question, please? You can also use the chat.
Thank you, Carlos. I think we are good with the timing. We have 10 minutes to spare about the questions. I don't know if anyone in the audience has any question. They can use the chat or they can use the Q&A feature. If not, in the meantime, there are some questions that were submitted earlier so that we can start. Related, for example, with what Carlos was just mentioning to close the presentation, one of the questions would be, what do you think are the biggest technical or manufacturing challenges that all of your projects need to overcome? I don't know if someone wants to start. You can directly jump in, I think.
So maybe I will start.
Okay.
So I think the biggest challenge for the co-extrusion and the combination of the co-extrusion and forming will be the upscaling. So this will be done this year because the end product has other dimensions than our used experimental tool. So our tool is very small, and the dimensions of the terrace stacking later on will be a width of approximately 180 millimeters in width and thickness of 20 millimeters. And furthermore, the output of the production extruder and also the shear properties in the production extruder will be much higher, and that will affect our forming process significantly, and therefore it maybe also will be necessary to adapt the formulation once again.
Thank you, Jürgen. I don't know if anyone wants to add anything else.
I can add a few words. I fully agree with Jürgen because upscaling is, I think, problem for all of us since these are new things and are not always compatible with the existing technology. So always needs of some changes in the technology. But I think I see also another problem in all our projects, or actually two. One is compatibility with the existing materials for comparison. For example, there are no standards for these new materials, and we try to select some existing materials. So we take something, but this existing things is better according to some of the characteristics, but this is worse than what we do, which means it is not fully comparable, and we don't have like standardization basis to compare the things. I think this is valid for I think many of us and many of the products. But then in the last things, what I think is, I would say, this is a purely technical matter. Fire resistance is pretty difficult. All of us, we work with biomaterials. All of them, they are not so good from point of fire resistance. So in this demands, this is like some extra chapter to the entire project, how to make it water fire resistant. And I think we have something to exchange probably to learn from each other in this respect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nasco. Laura?
Yes, I was going to answer a bit in line with what Jürgen already commented. Also, maybe not scalability in terms of, I think that for injection molding and extrusion compounding, you can already use the machines that are available for petroleum-based plastics. However, it is really important, the part of monitoring, that you are not degrading the material, because this will affect to the mechanical properties afterwards. So I think that one of the technical constraints would be to be able to monitor in real time that you are not degrading the material. And yeah, that's the main point, at least in the technologies that we are evolving.
Okay, thank you. We only have 5 minutes left, so I'm going to ask a question to all of you regarding the collaboration. Here we have universities, we have SMEs, we have research centers, we have a bit of everything. So how do you see collaboration between all of the actors to evolve, let's say, the future of the construction sector into deployment? So moving from the research and the testing and everything that we are doing now to, let's say, the end goal, which would be the deployment. maybe Annalisa, since you are present everywhere, in most of the projects being presented, maybe you can say something.
Yeah. Well, it's for us at least it's KM, as we are a small enterprise, and of course we have also limited resources in terms of capabilities, but also know-how and also research, because we are not so many. I think that what we have seen in many research projects is that we have access to competencies and know-how from research center that, of course, are very update. So for us, it's fundamental. Maybe we are limited in terms of sharing knowledge for the process, because the fact when collaborating with research institutes, if you are an industry, is of course that you are limited from your IP and your industrial secret. But for the other processes that's not covered by your IP is really a key aspect. And for example, also Nasco mentioned the fire resistance, and also I mentioned as well, in that case, for example, for all what concern coatings or dyes or this kind of technology, for us is really so important to collaborate because we really exchange our expertise, but of course also we ask for know-how from the research center. And I also think that collaboration from an institute and research perspective with industries is quite important, because maybe you have a great research, but is not able to be like a drop-in solution. So you have to face maybe limits from industrial perspective. And I think that really to share also our perspective as industry is quite important for researchers, because they can also direct their own research for developing after a solution that can enter the industry easily. So at least from our experience is really important, and we are very happy to be involved in many projects.
Thank you. Okay, unless anyone wants to add anything, any closing remarks.
Maybe I
Yes,
can
Paolo.
say something. So obviously, for us as a best crop, we are a research innovation action. For us, would be a dream to move into an innovation action in the future. So what we are doing right now is indeed try to address what are some requests from our industrial partners. As I said, we are focusing on the genetic quality of the material. We are trying to get a uniform genetic material, but on the other side, there is a lot of variability according where you cultivate the plant, which agriculture practice you are using. So I think it would be very important in the near future to verify how this variability impact on the industrial process downstream.
Thank you very much, Paolo. Someone raised their hands on the chat. Tomasz, you have the floor now.
Yes, good afternoon. Just a very short message from my side. Very thanks for organizing this event. I think it was really a great opportunity for meeting sister projects and even extending to CBE, which is always very welcome, because obviously this program is also in our remit, and construction materials, bio-based solutions are very much in scope of both Horizon and CBE. Of course, they are parallel instruments. So thank you again for organizing. And I have to apologize that I was trying to stay the whole time, but I had to move here and there. So I just wonder if there will be some information about this event on your respective websites, and I think this could be useful also to keep track that this meeting took place. And I don't know. So basically to include it in the communication of what you are doing. I think this is something that would be very happy to see. And please continue if there is any follow up. Of course, let us know also. So very good job. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. We are planning to probably post this session on our YouTube channel, and I will be sending a follow-up email to everyone that joined with the contacts of Atrium and the contacts of all of the sister projects. So I'll make sure to include you in the communication. Thank you very much for finding the time to join, and thank you everyone in general for joining this session.
Thank you,
Thank you very
everyone.
much,
Thank you.
Aralda.
Thank you.
Thanks so
Thank you.
much.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.